Hey guys, what's up? Akio Murasaki here. Today I have some news straight from Japan related to DLsite and Tora no Ana and payment processors. But before we get right into it, a little bit of background regarding payment processors, specifically VISA and MasterCard, and what has been happening in the last couple of months. So since roughly, I would say the end of last year, 2024, but as I've seen today, it's actually a little earlier than that, and even in the middle of 2024 in Japan, a lot of companies out there, specifically dealing with doujinshi and games and indie products, have been under fire by VISA and MasterCard for handling what I would call, I guess, naughty products. And more recently, that has been Steam and also itch.io. They were being kind of limited and also getting their contracts with Visa and MasterCard cancelled or under the threat of being cancelled because of dealing with sexual and or adult content. And there's been a bit of a breakthrough recently on the Japanese side, specifically with DLsite. DLsite, if you guys are not very familiar with it, is probably one of the biggest indie/doujinshi sites in Japan, where you can get all sorts of visual novels, comics, whatever you like basically. I think even standalone kind of full PC games as well you can get there, of course in Japanese. I did purchase quite some indie games, quite some visual novels out there, and I was very happy with the purchases, but that's been years ago and stuff. But anyway, there's been a bit of a breakthrough related to DLsite, as this article here from Automaton covers. So apparently DLsite came up with an alternative payment processor called Minna no Ginko Payment, which is basically a front or an app kind of for the digital bank Minna no Ginko. What is this bank specifically? I kind of had a brief look here. That is basically, no more than a digital wallet that you can download as an app on the App Store or from Google Play. You can download it, you can put in money, or I guess maybe perhaps connect your bank account or something to it. I didn't, look super deep into it, but basically you can create this digital wallet. It looks like you can also connect your bank account from what I can see kind of here. Don't quote me on this. I haven't super closely looked at this, but it is one of the payment alternatives that DLsite has been offering now. Which kind of, made me a little confused because I thought there are more alternatives already, and that is actually the case. I looked at some of these here. This is DLsite right here. And as you can see, there's a bunch of different payment options. Here we have Minna no Ginko, which I mentioned that has been added recently, but they also had JCB, which is a Japanese bank, and a bunch of these other payment processors, which are kind of like point-based systems. The one I believe I used, I'm not super sure, but I think it was DHarai, which again, here it says you can buy points and then you can exchange the points for purchases at DLsite. And yeah, why are they doing this? Because they cut ties now officially with Visa and MasterCard in order not to be restricted in what kind of content they are selling on DLsite. Which is of course great, but there is only one problem here. This is only for Japan. So Minna no Ginko, from what this article says here, it only operates in Japan. If you're, overseas, you unfortunately cannot use it. However, at least to my knowledge, you can try using one of these other payment systems and stuff like DHarai, for instance, or DPay. That one should work. And following the news related to DLsite, there's been some more development from Tora no Ana here. Also another article from Automaton. So what's been going on with Tora no Ana? From what I know, again, I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I vaguely kind of remember. They had some closures going on out there, like physical stores, and also massive restrictions when it comes to their digital content. can't remember exactly. I think that's how it's been. But basically, what is sure here is that October 8th, they introduced a new payment method. It's called Allpay or Allpay, I'm guessing. Here, as mentioned in a tweet from Tora no Ana, from the official account, that they're kind of following in step with how DLsite handled that and adding their own payment system. Again, problematic because that really does not work outside of Japan. It uses a Japanese phone number, so here you're even more restricted in terms of what you can do with it. If you don't have a Japanese phone number, then of course you cannot use this Allpay option. But perhaps there are other options for Tora no Ana, but also I'm pretty sure that you could also get these products from other places like DLsite, if it's specifically manga and some doujinshi. You might be able to get it, I think, from Book Life, which has like a vast collection of manga and light novels and also magazines from what I saw. So there are definitely some options for overseas customers, but at least what can say here is that Japan is very clearly fighting back against the censorship that Visa and MasterCard have been imposing in the last, well, over a year now. It's going to be close to 2 years at this point. They're fighting back and they're finding ways to support their customers without having to rely on Visa and MasterCard. But also, if you just kind of look at these different payment systems, it's actually very interesting how diverse the payment processor landscape looks in Japan. It's not really so much of a problem, and I think even in the West, you can probably find alternatives. Like for instance, for Steam, I've been using PayPal since a while. It works perfectly well, no issues whatsoever. Even though there's been problems with PayPal in the past, kind of similar to Visa and MasterCard, it's not as bad and they're not as restrictive in terms of the content you're purchasing. I kind of do understand that Visa and MasterCard are, trying to protect their business, trying to protect their image, but I don't think going after relatively smaller customers is a good idea in the long term. And it should really not be the case that Visa and MasterCard are, monopolizing this payment processor landscape. And as you can see, that is not 100% the case. But unfortunately, a lot of people do have a Visa or MasterCard card. And that is basically why we're in this situation in the first place. But that is it for this video from me. See you guys in the next one. Bye!